Good morning. Today is week 5, day 1, and we're gonna be working with arrays, and we're gonna learn how to decompose an array just the same way you do with a number. First, let's talk about the daily fluency. You have 4 problems in which you need to decide if they're counting forward or backwards. So do that first. Then you need to fill in the blanks. The good news is that they told you, when you read the directions, it says skip count by fives. So you already know that it's going to be skip counting by fives. So you can use your fingers to do that. Let's see A. A starts with 143, and then the second number is 138. 143 is actually greater than 138. That means that they're counting backwards. So let's go ahead and circle backwards and then fill in the blanks. So we have 133, what would be 5 less. So use your fingers. 132, 131, 130, 129, 128. So you write 128. Then we have 123, and we need to count 5 less. Let's use our fingers. 122, 121, 120, 119, 118. So write down 118. The next one is right there for you, 113. And then from 113, 5 less. Use our fingers. 112, 111, 110, 109, 108. So we write 108. And finally, 5 less. 107, 106, 105, 104, 103. So you write 103. Today we're gonna learn how to decompose an array or a rectangle just the same way that you decompose a number with a number bond. So this array, like you see, has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 columns and 1, 2, and 3 rows. So we can write 2 number sentences, 2 repeated additions. One would be 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which equals 15. So we know that the whole array has 15 squares. But now we're gonna decompose it. We're gonna decompose that number 15 using this blue paper. So I'm going to use it to decompose the rectangle. So the way they decompose it in your packet is like this. Now, instead of only one rectangle, they have 2 rectangles. The pink rectangle has 1, 2, and 3 columns by 1, 2, and 3 rows. So the repeated addition is 3 plus 3 plus 3, which equals 9. Now there's a blue rectangle now that has 2 columns of 3 and 3 rows. So the repeated addition is going to be 3 plus 3, which equals 6. So when we add the total number of squares that are in pink, 9, plus the total number of squares in blue, that equals the total number for the whole rectangle that we had before. 9 plus 6 equals 15. Next in your packet is this rectangle that we need to divide in 4 columns of 3. And then that array that we're gonna get, we have to decompose it. So we need to draw 4 columns. Remember that the columns are vertical because we need to do 4 columns, my advice is let's start with only 2. So right there in the middle of the rectangle, we're gonna divide it, 2 columns, but we really need 4. So we're gonna divide again here. So we have 2 here and 2 in the other half. So let's do the first half, 2, and 2 more in this half. So that's 4 columns, 4 vertical columns of 3. That means 3 rows. And remember that the rows are horizontal. So because it is only 3, we cannot start here at half. It's gonna be less than half, like way up here. So the first one is gonna be like over here. This is half, and then the other one is got to be something like here. So let's do that. This is row 1 and rows 2 and 3. So we have the array. Step 2 says separate 2 columns of 3. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna separate column 1 and column 2. The last step is to complete the number bond here that they use to decompose the rectangle that we just did on step 2. So at the top is the original big rectangle that we had. That is 4 columns of 3 rows each. So you write 3 here, 4 columns of 3 rows, or 4 columns of 3. Then we divided that by coloring 2 columns of 3. And then the other part is the white part. So that's gonna be 2 columns, 2 columns of 2 columns of 3. 2 columns of 3, just like this one. Okay, now we need to write down the number sentences. So for this part, it is going to be 3 plus 3 equals 6. That's the orange part. And for the other part, the white part, is also going to be 3 plus 3. 3 plus 3 equals 6. Okay. Don't forget that when you add 6 plus 6, that equals 12, which is the total number of squares that we had to begin with. And I'm going to write down that number sentence over here. So the total is 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 12. Next is the problem set that you're gonna solve by yourself. So here you have it. You need to draw 6 columns of 4. That is 6 columns and 4 rows. Then you need to separate 4 columns of 4. So you're gonna color 4 of the columns. And then you're gonna do the number bond, just like we did on the video. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow.